question is, who really betrayed the Kashmiri migrant teachers whose jobs were regularized, remember, after 3 long decades, is the question.
Absolutely, and with us to discuss that and perhaps shirk responsibility and point in the other direction as well is joining us in this broadcast Harish Khurana, who's spokesperson of the BJP, Lalit Ambardar, Kashmiri activist, also with us, Sundar Balakrishnan, a political analyst, and Akashdeep Muni, also a political analyst, with us on this broadcast. But I'd like to begin with Mr. Ambardar. We've seen over the last 32 years, the common theme has been that successive governments, irrespective of who has been in power, has let down the Kashmiri Pundit, the Kashmiri Hindu community. Very little has been done for their rehabilitation. And now, as far as the regularization of migrant teachers in Delhi is concerned, that again seems to be the pattern.
At the outset, I would like to maintain what I've been saying always. Kashmiri Hindus who suffered genocide in Kashmir at the hands of Kashmiri jihadis as a result of Bleed India Kashmir Jihad, they have been let down by the nation, by the Indian state, and left for themselves. I recall and remember the agony these teachers suffered all these 3 decades when they had to work full time as per the protocol, joining time and leaving time, but they were not entitled for holidays. It was just, I think, 1 holiday per month or something of that. They were not even entitled for maternity leave. Every teacher, every employee in the schools would enjoy summer, winter vacations. These hapless Kashmiri Hindu teachers were not even entitled to those holidays. This disrupted their family life, disrupted their personal lives. I have seen them going into depression. That was the kind of situation. And then who can deny the legal procedure? They were ultimately forced to go to the law. And it's also a fact. Who gave them the employment? It was Madanlal Khurana with the help of Kedarnath Sani. They realized that these refugees in a bad situation. It was only a matter of a couple of 100 people, and they thought, let's give them on contract basis employment so that it gives some kind of succor to their families. This was an initiative. I respect that. But what happened later on, when they were being what was demanded of these was a regular job, but they were being paid measly amount. If I tell you, I don't want to compare. It wasn't worth. It was exploitation of human labor and against every human labor law.
Absolutely.
Then they went to the court. The teachers went to the court. Who contested that? The government contested that. Not only once, the second time, and ultimately the Supreme Court dismissed the petition of Delhi government. Now, going to the nitty-gritties of whether it was the Chief Minister's department, whether it was Lieutenant Governor's department, the fact remains, these people, these refugees had to suffer on account of the ruling elite.
Absolutely. Even in your voice, we can hear the pain. Remember, it's over 32 years, but time is clearly not a healer. So who's responsible? On our screens, we have the facts out there in black and white. The second document that we have on your screens, and Mr. Harish Khurana, I'd like to come to you. It is the Supreme Court which has said we are going to dismiss the special leave petition. It has been filed very categorically, and we have the documents there, Mr. Harish Khurana. It has been filed by the Union of India. It very categorically says 2018 centers SLP in the apex court, which was dismissed by the Supreme Court. So can the BJP today shirk all onus and said all along we worked for the Kashmiri Pundits? And also, let's not forget, Arvind Kejriwal says that in 2017 they tried to withdraw it, but the LG's office stopped it via the services department.
See, first of all, it's not a matter of just for 233 people. It's a matter of 104,865 people who were the Kashmiri migrants from Delhi. I mean, from Kashmir, they've shifted to Delhi. It was first time, as rightly said by Mr. Lalit Ambardar, my father, who was the chief minister at that time in 1994, gave contractual contracts to those teachers at that point of time. In 2010, those teachers went for a regular job in a high court. In 2015, the single bench has given in favor of Kashmiri migrants. Why in 2015, that time Arvind Kejriwal government was there, they went to double bench? Point number 1. Point number 2, when in 2018 in May, then the double bench also favored Kashmiri migrant teachers, KMTs. Why they went to Supreme Court in October 18? The point is, we are with the sympathize with the Kashmiri migrants and the people who are there. We are with them, and we have done whatever we can do it. We are doing it, still doing it. Point number 1. Aam Aadmi Party, the document which you have showed to the country, on the same document, page number 12. This is page number 12. I'll ask your cameraman to just show it to you. This clearly said, he has stated that very clearly, regulation of these teachers of Delhi government does not require any approval from the government of India. Point is very noted. Similarly, the grant of regular pay scales and the migrant teachers cannot be denied to them merely on the ground of that may return to value to become normal. This was statement given by the government of India affidavit at that point of time. What the Delhi government has said, Secretary Education, this is point page number 12, the same document which you are having access. The Secretary said they are appointed without the following of the normal procedure of recruitment through the Service Selection Commission.
Right.
Some of them does not fulfill the eligibility criteria. It is felt that they are recruited.
So even now, all we're seeing is one party pointing in the direction of the other. And Sundar Balakrishnan, before I get you in as to how the AAP can really shirk responsibility for all of this, I want to get in a voice that is fighting the Delhi government even now. A Kashmiri Pundit, Manoj Kaul, is with us on this broadcast. Thank you so much for speaking with us here, Mr. Kaul. Do tell us about the case that you're fighting for. You're fighting for justice, we're given to understand, against the Delhi government, and how have they been blocking it? Mr. Kaul?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
आपको मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है? Ma'am, this matter pertains to J&K migrants. Subject is regarding bifurcation, addition, deletion of family migrants of Delhi-based J&K migrants. That means those migrants who are registered in Delhi during the period 1990, 91, 92, right? तो उस वक्त जो हुआ था कि जो माइग्रेंट्स के कार्ड बने थे उसमें फैमिली मेंबर लिखे हुए थे. आज की डेट में ये चीज़ है कि जो दिल्ली सरकार कहती है वो ये कहती है कि जो आपके 1990 में जो फैमिली मेंबर्स थे वही आपको शो करने हैं आज, यानी 2022 में. यानी उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है कि वो बंदे हैं या नहीं है. अगर वो मरते हैं तो उनको डिलीट करो. अगर जो आपने ऐड हुए हैं फैमिली मेंबर, जैसे मान लो मैं हूँ एक, मैं जिस वक्त माइग्रेशन हुई थी, आई वॉज एट द एज ऑफ 21. नाउ आई एम मैरिड, आई एम 50+. आई हैव माई वाइफ, आई हैव माई 2 kids. तो कल अगर मेरी डेथ हो जाएगी तो मेरे बच्चों का उनका रजिस्ट्रेशन कैसे हो जाएगी? वो कैसे क्लेम करेंगे वो J&K माइग्रेंट्स है?
So that's a very important point. Manoj Kaul ये बोल रहे हैं कि it's not just over the last 30 years this kind of plight that the Kashmiri Hindus have been facing, but this kind of discrimination where they feel their rights are being trampled upon still continues. Remember, these are legal cases which are still currently underway. Welcome back. You're watching Times Now's campaign, Reopen the Kashmir Files. We've been telling you who systematically have denied the Kashmiri Hindus their right and their due in their own nation. We, before we took a break, had shown to you how successive governments have failed the Kashmiri migrant teachers. Now let me go across to Sundar Balakrishnan. Mr. Balakrishnan, you were here when you heard the plight of one of the Kashmiri Hindus who said that till date they need to fight for their rights. There's a legal case which he's still fighting against the government of Delhi. How can Arvind Kejriwal say that we only show with our work and our care for the Kashmiri Hindus and not the other parties?
See, I would like to bring to your notice one letter, which is actually signed by the General Secretary of this Government School Teachers Association, Migrant Teachers Association. It is signed by one Mr. T.K. Bhatt. And it is very clearly said that we would like to reiterate that, and there it is said that there is a person called Dilip Ban who is supposed to be some fake person. Okay, he is not connected with the organization at all. And secondly, the letter itself states that we would like to reiterate that the elected government of Delhi under Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal had helped the Kashmiri Migrant contractual teachers under the Delhi government by bringing the policy via cabinet note dated 12/7/2017 for our regularization. Now here, this issue has come is under the LG. It is the LG who has taken up the issue, and it is the union government who is responsible. Second, most important thing, we all of us are with Kashmiri Pundits. Now, I will tell you, this issue happened in 1989-90 where the exodus began.
Right.
Now, after that, there are so many governments. In 1996, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was there. In
And that's exactly what we have been saying, Mr. Sundar Balakrishnan, that successive governments for 30 long years have failed Kashmiri Hindus, Kashmiri Pundits. 30 long years they've been waiting for justice. Unfortunately, all they've got is mere lip service from all of those governments, both here in Delhi and as well as at the centre. I thank all our panelists for joining us here on this broadcast. We're running